Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show. We are a little bit late here, but we're up and live. Appreciate you guys all joining us. And Howard Bender, thanks for you joining me, even though we're a little bit late here.
I always think a little theatrics to start the show or what we need today. What we need? We got a big old slate of MLB to bet on.
Yeah, we do.
Last night, the NBA draft. I know you had some sizzling hot takes there. So, should we just kind of get underway and forget the pleasantries? Hi, everybody.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Yeah, the NBA draft last night was really entertaining. Yeah, I sent out a tweet, and I know I got some traction on the Twitter machine there that I think it's a huge mistake and the dumbest pick of the draft that the Charlotte Hornets went with Brandon Miller at number 2 over Scoot Henderson. Me and Fensty broke down the entire NBA draft on yesterday's Bettor Sports Betting Show, if you saw that. And I said it on there. I think, because the odds flipped yesterday, hours before the draft, that Brandon Miller was a massive favorite to be the number 2 pick. And that's the way it was trending, even though it was going back and forth all week. And so when I saw that trending that way, I just needed to say that this is a mistake by the Hornets before the draft even happened, just knowing it was going to happen. And listen, 5-10 years from now, I think Scoot Henderson's going to be one of the best guards in this league, in the NBA. And Brandon Miller is probably going to be just like a role wing player. I don't think he's going to turn into like a true star. And when you're picking that early, like the Hornets, they pick for team need and fit. Me and Fensty broke that down. They need a wing. They need like a forward. They already have LaMelo Ball as their lead ball handler and guard.
Right.
But when you're picking at 2 and you're the Hornets team that hasn't sniffed the playoffs in a while, you're not really drafting for fit. You're not drafting for team need. You need to hit some home runs here. And no matter the fit of Scoot Henderson next to LaMelo Ball, you can't just draft the guy that fits the roster better. You need to take a chance that Scoot can be a star and possibly better than the LaMelo Ball. So, I don't understand it. And if I was a Charlotte Hornets fan, I'd be very upset today. Thankfully, I'm not. And the Trailblazers got a steal, I think, at 3. So,
yeah, I think it was pretty telling also because I think obviously Vegas agrees with you because if you look at the odds for Rookie of the Year. You got Wemby sitting there. He's at minus 300 or something like that. But then you've got Brandon Miller's at plus 1,200 and Scoot Henderson is only plus 300. So, this should be a really interesting thing, especially if, you got Scoot Henderson now with Dame Lillard and what these two guys are going to do and, help, finish transforming this team into what should be a highly competitive team in the Western Conference now.
Yeah, and by the way, if anybody is betting on Wemby to be the Rookie of the Year today, now that these odds are very much in his favor, I'm sorry, it's a dumb move on that part because before the draft, it was minus 180, and everyone knew he was going number 1. Everyone knew some of these landing spots already, and if you wanted to bet on him, do it before the draft. But now it's like reactionary. They're just making they're kind of covering their butts here, the sports books, but it's like you were mentioning, I don't think it's the best bet on that board, especially now that he's a massive favorite. So,
right. Well, I mean, that was wasn't there some idiot who put 40 grand down on Wemby to go number 1 overall so he could win like $250 or something?
What's
like
the
that?
point? Yeah, I mean,
it makes no sense. I mean, listen, I'm not going to thumb my nose if somebody's like, hey, here you go. Here's $250. I'd be like, well, thank you very much, but to risk 40 grand, what if something crazy happened there?
Yeah.
I would laugh my ass off.
What if we had, not apples to apples comparison here, but you remember when Laramie Tunsil, that picture came out, the video, and he got shot down the draft boards. What if something like that came out like an hour before the draft, and all of a sudden the Spurs are scrambling and they don't want to draft Wemby. I mean, it was very much a long shot for him not to go number one. But yeah, the risk reward is something in sports betting you just have to factor in, even though something seems like a lock. Yesterday, I parlayed the Rays against the Royals in a couple of bets, and the Rays did not win that game, even though Shane McClanahan was on the mound.
Oh my God. I freaked out. I was on air, right, on Sirius XM, and I'm watching because I've got the game on one of the monitors, right? And I'm watching McClanahan get taken out by the trainer. And I'm like sobbing. I didn't even have money on it with McClanahan yesterday because I didn't have time to like throw down a bet because I was doing like all sorts of DFS stuff and putting him in all the lives. I'm in first place in like a ton of fantasy leagues this year. And McClanahan is my ace. And then, of course, I waited an exceptionally long time before diving into the rest of the pitching as I'm building up my offense. So, like that. Oh, dude, what a day that was. Now you know how I feel every time I bet against the Oakland Athletics. Because every time I bet against them, somehow they show up and kick me in the nuts.
Oh, a little tease for a bit later. We might have some underdog picks that we want to give you guys.
Is that a tease? Is that just Bender being a jackass?
Hey, every now and then a squirrel finds a nut, right? That's what the saying goes. By the way, we got a comment here on YouTube. Appreciate everyone watching and tuning in here. Sports Nut Nick says Holmgren for Rookie of the Year. I love that pick. I think it's him or Scoot, honestly, for Rookie of the Year. And Holmgren, he's coming back healthy for the Thunder. I'm interested to see what his role is just on the team and counting stats wise when you're factoring in how he'll compare to, Scoot Henderson. If Scoot goes out there and averages 20 points per game or something. But Holmgren's a great pick. I mean, people have kind of forgotten about him, but he's going to be a dynamic athlete there for the Thunder. I like that call. But Brandon Miller's odds are way down.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see how fast his line moves because I heard I was on the Bettor Morning Show today at 8 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss it, people. But Corey Parson, we were talking about the odds for Rookie of the Year, how they came out, and Corey was like, everybody in this world is sleeping on Chet Holmgren right now, so. Be very curious to see how long it takes before everybody starts catching on.
Yeah. So let's flip the script here. You mentioned we got a full baseball slate of games tonight to bet on, to make some picks for. And I know me and Howard both got some pretty full cards here. You can see some of the odds flashing on here. We got some big favorites. The Rays are big favorites again. We'll see if we're going that direction. What do you got for your best bet tonight for Friday night?
Best bet tonight. I mean, I'm kind of tilting into a different direction. I'm going with the Diamondbacks and the Giants over 8.5. I got it at plus 100. I got it even money on DraftKings this morning when I did it. And I'll tell you what. I mean, Zach Davies pitches to a ton of contact. We've seen him do that routinely. The Giants are hitting, right-handed pitching very, very well this year, and they're white hot right now in their last 7 games. So I love what's going on that side. Logan Webb, he's been great, rock solid all year. He's had a couple of stumbles now in the last couple of starts. I don't know if, we tend to see that there are some starters who just at the tail end of the first half, they're just, they're a little run down. Obviously, you just starting back up and, so your arm gets a little tired. That's why they've got the All-Star break right there in the middle of the season. It gives everybody that extra time off. So I don't think I'm not saying that Logan Webb's going to get blown up, but I'm just saying I think that this game ends up going a little bit beyond what people are thinking score-wise. And I mean, I saw it for, it was on BetMGM, it was at 8 runs at minus 120. So I was like, all right, well, if it's 8 runs at minus 120 and you can, get the safety of a push, I might as well just take that risk and get me the plus odds.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, the Giants offense has been one to target lately for sure. So, and you mentioned the D-backs can probably give Logan Webb some issues there. Webb's, I think he's going to have a shaky outing or two. That's one I looked at for sure. Even the Diamondbacks on the money line was an interest for me, just to fade a little bit of Webb there. But yeah, good call there. My best bet for tonight, I'm going with the San Diego Padres team total over 4.5 runs on DraftKings, minus 140 there. We got the Padres against, it's
Patrick Corbin alert.
It's fade Patrick Corbin night for those that celebrate. And I'm doing it here. I mean, he's got a 4.89 ERA, and his expected ERA is even worse. It's 6.31. On the road is a spot to target him. He's a little bit better at home, but on the road, he's got a 5.40 ERA this year. And the Padres are just, over the past 2 weeks, over the past month, they've been the best offense in baseball against left-handed pitching. This offense is clicking right now. Machado's on fire. Tatis, Soto trending up. The whole lineup is just a lot more dangerous than it was a couple months ago. And at home, in the past 11 games, they've scored 5+ runs in 7 of those 11 games. So I'm taking the over on the team total here, staying away from the full game over, but I just like this matchup against Corbin. I just don't see how he has success against this Padres lineup.
Dude, I was sitting there again on the show on Sirius XM watching the Padres put 10 runs up on the Giants.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, this is just I was like trying to figure out what was more abusive, watching the Padres doing that or then watching the Mariners do that to the Yankees. But it was ugly. Yeah, this Padres team is really, it's lining up. You gave the big names there, but Hae-Sung Kim has been a solid contributor. Jake Cronenworth is starting to heat back up again now also. And I think this is one of the things that the Padres have needed. That's a top heavy lineup with Tatis and Machado and Juan Soto. And you love that group, but Xander Bogaerts too. You don't want to forget him.
Yeah, everyone forgets about Bogaerts.
I know, right? You need that. Well, his wrist has been a little achy, so whatever. But you need the back end of that lineup to start picking up steam. That's one of the things why the Rays and the Texas Rangers have been so strong this year is not because their top end of their lineup, but because their 5, 6, and 7 hitters have all been contributing at some point as well. So, like in Texas, Nate Lowe, Josh Young, and Jonah Heim. Those 3 guys have been contributing on the regular. So it's always good to see that now here for San Diego because, now's the time. I would definitely, I think they're good, solid plus money to make the playoffs, San Diego. I would probably sprinkle a little something on that early.
Yeah, and they're probably a team that's going to be trying to buy at the deadline. I mean, because they've already sunk so much into that lineup. Maybe they try to improve the pitching staff next. So, yeah, but the offense has been what's been clicking for them. The pitching has been off and on for them, that when you're talking like money lines or just betting on them to win. But their offense is the one I'm targeting here. So yeah, the team total over there. And the MLB DFS podcast for tonight that you guys recorded overnight there. I heard you hyping up Machado on that one too. Yep. Machado's just like he's on another level right now, and he started out slow, but he's picked it up here. So yeah, he's been a big addition for them. Moving on to some more picks here. By the way, if you guys have any questions, comments for us, picks for tonight that you want us to back or fade, we will definitely do that. Hit us up in the comments here. And if you haven't already, we say this every day, but just get on it. The fantasy football draft guide at Fantasy Alarm. It's just an awesome value. $26.99 if you don't have the All Pro subscription, but you can get it for free with that All Pro subscription and get a free 7-day trial too if you go to fantasyalarm.com/draft guide. We got new articles pumping out every day, a couple more today, just rankings, sleepers, busts, everything. So get on that, the fantasy football draft guide, and we'll get you ready to dominate your fantasy football leagues this year. Getting back
can I sweeten that offer a little bit there, Dan?
Sweeten it up, yeah.
All right, so if you get the All Pro subscription, put in promo code, type Howard, and that'll knock 50% off your first 6 months.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're not advertising that one at all. And I'm like, well, I mean, I tested it out the other day. I was like, is this promo code still working for me? And so 50% off, so you can take it for the 7-day free trial, right? Play a little DFS, make a little money, then come back and take it. And then I'll give you that discount, 50% off your first 6 months on the All Pro subscription, promo code Howard.
Nice. That's for the people tuning into this Better sports betting show. So you get some gold here, as well as some picks for tonight's games.
Yeah.
What else you got riding tonight for your betting picks?
All right, I got some good stuff here. I'll piggyback off of the Giants and the over on that game. Tyro Estrada. I mean, I just love this dude. I mean, I really love this dude. He's highly underrated infielder. He's, he can play multiple positions. He's so good. But I mean, he's just got a great batter's eye. And he's very consistent. So over 1.5 hits, runs plus RBI. I mean, it's minus 140, which they're just telling you. But I mean, that to me, in a game where I expect to see some runs, batting second in that lineup, give me Tyro Estrada, RBI, run scored, whatever, hit. He'll definitely get that hit. So that's where I'm going there. You want more? You want to give 1 and 1 and 1 and 1?
We'll go back and forth here. I just wanted to say I do back any props for the Giants hitters tonight, because if there's any side I feel comfortable with that overhitting, it's the Giants offense against Zach Davies. So yeah, Estrada will probably have a big part in that. One of my picks tonight, I'm going with the Twins and the Tigers, the first 5 innings over 4.5 here. Kind of a sneaky spot for the over, because we got 2 offenses that you don't really think of high scoring, but I'm just looking at this pitching matchup and I can't get around it. It's Kenta Maeda coming off the IL after 2 months, and this is his first start back. He's got a 9 ERA and a 1.63 WHIP in his first 4 starts before he went on the IL. And the Tigers actually doing a little bit better offensively lately, especially against right-handed pitching. 338 WOBA against righties over the past week, 274 batting average too in that span. And they're averaging 5.4 runs per game over their past 11 games, with 6+ runs scored on their own in 5 of the last 7. So this offense is kind of trending a little bit up right now, and I think Maeda is not gonna shut them down. But then on the other side, it's Joey Wentz, 6.82 ERA this year. He actually had a good outing against the Twins his last start, but that kind of makes me worry for the rematch here. Just the offense, having just faced them, is going to have some familiarity and play a little bit better there. The Twins offense is definitely up and down and not great numbers against lefties this year, but this is just a fade of Joey Wentz for sure. So give me the first 5 over and just leave the bullpens out.
All right. Listen, I don't mind the first 5 over in this one, because I agree with you. Maeda's going to have – I mean, I like Kenta Maeda overall as a pitcher, but we see these guys every time they come back off the IL, they're probably not going more than 5 innings because they're probably throwing a lot of pitches and they get a little gassed. So no love for Joey Wentz. All right.
By the way, I got to throw another pick out there because it's just on the same game. It's Royce Lewis. The guy's on fire right now, and I'm going with his over hits, runs, RBIs, over 1.5 from minus 120 on DraftKings there. He's hitting 319 since being called up in late May, hitting 348 over his last 7 games, 346 over his last 15. And I mentioned Wentz is he's not great. He's 6.82 ERA, and he's allowed a 2.96 batting average to right-handed hitters this year. And then when you look at Lewis's splits, he's hitting 353 against left-handed pitching and 440 batting average on the road this year. So he's been on fire lately for that Twins offense when other guys have struggled. He's over this hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of 19 games since joining that lineup. So I'm taking the over here.
I dig it. I love Royce Lewis. I think the kid's a fantastic player. Going to be there for a while. All right, my next bet, I'm going to the Texas Rangers, going up against my New York Yankees right now. That team is just in trouble. Clark Schmidt on the bump for the New York Yankees against this Rangers lineup. This Rangers lineup is so good, so strong, all the way through and through. So I'm going to take the team total over 4.5 runs at plus 105. It was at 4 runs. It was over 4, I think, on Caesars, and that was minus 115, minus 120, I think. So I was like, all right, well, here you go. So without getting that safety of the push, I'll get the plus 105 on DK. So over 4.5 runs for me on that slide.
I could always dig the over on the Rangers team totals. And if you look on fantasyalarm.com right now, we got the Prize Picks video up for today by Colby Conway, and he's taking the over on a Corey Seager prop there because Corey Seager's been a huge part of that offense, that Rangers offense. And yeah, you mentioned the matchup there. Clark Schmidt is not one I trust tonight.
No. And like DraftKings had like Luis Severino in there, right? And somebody asked me, they were like, "Well, DraftKings says Severino," and I was like, "Yeah, it's Clark Schmidt. Everywhere I look, it's Clark Schmidt, except for there on DraftKings." But don't worry, even if it was Severino, it probably still wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I backed the Mariners last night against Domingo Germán, and that was a success. I got a pick here for Zach Eflin, his outs prop. It's plus money, plus 130, over 18.5. So you just got to get over that threshold of 6 innings, which makes you worry a little bit. But I like the plus money here. Facing the Royals, I mean, this Royals offense is not good. Hashtag not good. McClanahan. So we were talking about this earlier. McClanahan left in the 4th inning with that injury. They had to hit the bullpen early. They used like 5 relievers in the game. And this is a sandwich spot for the Rays where they have Eflin going tonight. Tomorrow they have Yanni Chirinos, and then Sunday they have Tyler Glasnow. Those two guys, shaky for Glasnow lately, and Chirinos only goes like 5 innings usually. I think they're going to want to save the pen for those guys. So even if Eflin gives up a run or two early, I think he's going deep in this game. For the underdog picks article up on Fantasy Alarm, I took a different prop for F1, but here I'm going with the outs prop. He's been over 6 innings pitched, over these 18.5 outs in 4 straight home games. He's been dominant at home in general, 1.85 ERA compared to a 5.08 road ERA. And yeah, this home stretch of going over 6 innings just has me leaning towards F1 against this Royals lineup. 291 WOBA against right-handed pitching this season. Just, one of the worst offenses against righties. So I think they're going to look for F1 to eat up some innings, pitch into the 7th inning at least here.
I was a little nervous actually when I saw that one. That pick kind of gave me the ick when I saw it. I was like, really? Because if they go up, early on the Royals, just spare Zach Eflin any extra wear and tear, take him out after 5, depending on that. But now that you make a great point about the bullpen use last night and the anticipated bullpen use over the next 2 starts. So it gives me the ick even less now, and I can definitely dig that one. All right, I'm going to go for some low-hanging fruit today, only because, again, I saw this for plus money on BetMGM when I was scrolling through the props. Ronald Acuna Jr., over half an RBI at plus 100 on BetMGM. I was like, I had to click that bet it now. It's like when you're on eBay and you're like, buy it now. It's like, because that's going to move in a second. I just, it's Luke Weaver on the mound for the Reds. This is a big, big series here with the Braves and the Reds. It's going to be very exciting to watch. It's I look at this and I'm like, yeah, there's just no way that the Braves are they need to assert their authority. They need to assert some dominance and just show this Reds team that it's still very, very young and has a lot to do. So Acuna getting an RBI tonight. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. And I'll go piggyback right off of that. I'm taking the first 5 over in this Reds Braves game. The total is like at 11 for the full game over. I'm just kind of limited to the first 5 over 6.5. Still a big total, but I'm looking at Smith Shawver for the Braves. He's 2.03 ERA through his first few outings here for the Braves, but he's got a 4.47 FIP. And just some of those metrics when you dive into them, it looks like he's going to have some poor outings, regressive outings, and this Reds offense has been clicking. I know we've said it multiple times on this show. Just the Reds team total is one I look at, but this lineup with Elly De La Cruz and now getting a revitalized Joey Votto back in the lineup. This offense is a tough matchup, I think, for Smith Shawver on the road here. And then the other side, it's Luke Weaver, who's just 6.47 ERA this year, just a trash can. I wonder how much longer he's going to be, rolled out as a starter every game because, like last year he's used as a reliever. But I just can't see him being in this Reds rotation especially if they're trying to compete, down the stretch here. But yeah, so the Braves lineup against him, it gives me a lot of confidence there. And both the Braves and the Reds over the past 2 weeks have been top 5 offenses, or top like 3 offenses again, right against right-handed pitching. So I think this first 5 over is a way to go here, avoiding the full game over.
Can dig it. I can't wait for that game. I can't wait for it. That's going to be a fun one to watch for sure. I got one more for you here because I know we got some other stuff on the way for people. A nice little debut coming. But Lucas Giolito, I'm taking under 5.5 strikeouts on this one. He's gone under this in like 3 of his last 5 games. But the Red Sox are not a big strikeout team. I know their offense isn't as potent as it is on the road as it is at home. But they're still, it's low strikeout rate against righties. It's low strikeout rate on the road. So I'm kind of digging that. And they're also, I think they're like under 20% over the past week. So I think Giolito will have a little bit of trouble with them. Take that under on the strikeout total.
I like that. Yeah, 5.5 I like taking unders on those because they want to make you bet it, to get to the 6 number. But in the tough matchups, like you're saying, 5 is a tough number for Giolito to get to even. So,
yeah, for sure.
All right. So those are our betting picks for tonight's slate. Definitely a good mix of stuff. By the way, there is tons of weather concerns tonight. So just kind of keep an eye on those. Like the Reds game does have a little bit of a weather concern in the early innings, but I think they'll probably get the game in. Yankees too. There's a possible early innings, maybe there's a later start, but just keep an eye on that. By the way, just in general, every day when you're betting on baseball, because weather is definitely a factor. We are going to be debuting a new segment here because just giving you guys those picks isn't enough. We got to give you some more here. And so this is a spot we're going to be looking for some underdogs, some plus money for our Diamond Dogs of the Night, an ode to Ted Lasso.
I'm rounding up the Diamond Dogs.
Who the are the Diamond Dogs?
It's just a group of people who care, Roy. Not unlike folks at a hip-hop concert whose hands are not in the air.
Yeah, shout out to our producer Adam Bernard for creating that little intro there and using some Photoshop skills.
Come on, Adam, pop in here, Adam. Come on, give me a little Diamond Dog bark.
Yeah, we got our whole Diamond Dogs here. Yeah, we all love the show Ted Lasso. I'm sure you guys too. So we got to implement that little segment because Diamond Dogs, it works perfectly for finding some underdogs on the baseball diamond. What do you got for your underdog pick tonight? I think we gave a little tease early, but let's see where you're going.
Was it a tease? I don't know. My Diamond Dog pick of the night. Yeah, it's the Oakland Athletics on the run line, plus 1.5, going up tonight against Chris Bassett. It's plus 130 on Caesars. I gotta tell you, peoples. Well, first of all, Bassett gets hit around a bunch. We've seen that. Listen, I like him as a pitcher, but how about the reverse revenge game narrative? His old team, the Oakland Athletics, they're gonna kind of, they've hit around. But here's the thing: Oakland Athletics, yes, if you bet the money line against Oakland through every game, you'd be ahead of the game, like inch by inch, but you'd still be ahead of the game. The run line, very, very intriguing here. If you look at this 8-game losing streak that they're on, 6 of the 8 games are all 1-run games. So Oakland's staying competitive. They're staying in the games. They're, occasionally the other 2 were 6-1 games, both of them. So, that does happen, and you would expect that to happen. But you know what? Going up against a hittable Chris Bassett who pitches to a bunch of contact, I think that the A's can definitely keep it close. And if you look at that Toronto bullpen over the past week, they've been a little overworked, and they had like the 5th or 6th highest ERA in the league for relief pitching. I think the A's can at least get that run line in there, plus 1.5, plus 130.
Yeah, and on the other side, we got James Caprillion, who's actually been serviceable for the A's lately. He's ruined a couple of my bets because, like they've been covering this run line, but also just kind of being more competitive. When you just look at Caprillion, you think their teams are going to smash them, but the Blue Jays offense is just they're not one I can trust either right now. So I'll back that. I'm going with the Houston Astros at plus 125 on DraftKings on the money line there, facing the Dodgers here on the road. Emmett Sheehan starting for the Dodgers. We bet against them, or at least I did last week with Howard, but I'm doing it again here. I think Emmett Sheehan had a great debut for the Dodgers. I need to see it at least 2 more times to really buy into him. And I think the Astros offense can have, give him some trouble here. Over the past week, they have a 326 WOBA against right-handed pitching, and they have low strikeout rate, high walk rate too against righties lately. So I think they're going to make Sheehan work for it. And the other side, JP France, not a pitcher I usually back, but on the road, 188 ERA this year compared to a 501 ERA at home. So there's some favorable splits for him and the Astros here. And, the other thing is just kind of buying in here is I have a little bit more faith in the Astros bullpen right now than the Dodgers bullpen. So I'll back the Astros as small underdogs here.
And you know what? There's a little bulletin board material going on. Like everybody's like, the Dodgers, they got robbed of their championship because the Houston Astros cheated and that year. Rod Manfred, the commissioner of MLB, comes out and says, I probably shouldn't have given the Houston Astros the immunity for during the investigation. That was probably a mistake. So now all of a sudden you've got this whole thing resurfacing right here as these two teams are going up against each other. And I think that even the Astros can use this as bulletin board material, being like, you know what, F you, commissioner of baseball. You didn't do it. You can't come back 5 years later and be like, oh, maybe I was wrong back then. So I like it, dude. I'll back you on that one.
Nice. Another reverse revenge angle there. Awesome. So those are our Diamond Dogs for tonight. We'll be giving you guys out some underdogs every night now because baseball's the king of our summer now. It's we can talk some NFL futures and win totals and all that, but if you're looking to bet on things daily, it's basically baseball, and maybe we'll dive into some WNBA at times, but there's not a ton of sports going on at night. Yeah. All right, let's get to some home run calls, our daily dingers of the night.
You can put it on the board. Yes.
Now that's a dinger.
Oh, these intros are awesome, left and right here. Who you got going yard tonight, Howard?
You know what? Going right to that Braves Cincinnati game. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Luke Weaver on the bump for the Reds. Give me Austin Riley, baby. Plus 330 on Caesars. He's got 2 home runs off of Weaver in a handful of at-bats already. Sees the ball out of his hand very well. I think this is going to be a big night for the Atlanta Braves and Austin Riley.
Love that. That'll help my over in that first 5 game if he goes deep early with a couple runners on. I'll take that. 3-run homer, maybe.
Do it. Grand slam it. Come on, baby. Come on.
And then my home run call will help one of my other bets, the Padres team total. I'm going Manny Machado to go deep, plus 425 on DraftKings. He homered yesterday, so that's a good vibe here. He's been smashing left-handed pitching this year. 381 batting average, 587 slug, and hitting 274 at home this year, 323 over the past 15 games. And we talked about it earlier. He's got Patrick Corbin on the mound here. Corbin has had some road issues this year and overall just is not a good pitcher right now. And 9 homers allowed over his last 6 road starts this year. And 12 of his 13 homers allowed this year against 2 right-handed hitters. So looking at Machado to go back-to-back from last night into today.
I love targeting against Patrick Corbin. It's one of my favorite things to do. Every once in a while, he'll screw you. He'll throw a decent outing, but that's all the more reason then the next day, the next start to like jump all over him.
Right.
That he's gonna because he's gonna give up 6 in like 2 1/3.
Yeah.
So I like it for you on that one, Servo. I'm all in on betting against Patrick Corbin. I said Manny Machado was my guy during the DFS podcast last night going in for today's slate. So can't argue against it at all. Machado.
Yeah. I'm sure Machado and the Padres will be some top DFS plays. And by the way, coming up in about 20 minutes here, 5 o'clock Eastern, the MLB DFS live show as it goes every day at 5 o'clock Eastern. Today it's me and Adam Ronas hosting for you guys. We were on last night's show, gave you guys some winners. Ronas called a couple of nice plays there, and so we got a full slate to break down. So definitely tune into that if you're looking to build some MLB DFS lineups in addition to all your bets tonight. And if you haven't already, Howard mentioned it earlier, he's on the Bettor Morning Show, the new show that's here on Bettor Sports Network, 8 a.m. Eastern every day, just breaking down some of the top stories, around the horn style for that show. And it's Andrew Cooper, Britt Flynn, and Corey Parson there with Howard. I mean, how's that show been going this week? Got some hot takes you're throwing out there?
I mean, the show's a blast. It really is. Like we kind of spreading it out. A couple of the topics, not necessarily in my wheelhouse. I'm not an NBA guy, but we've been talking about the Reds and betting them. We talked about this Houston Dodgers series coming up. We're hitting a couple of football topics. We were talking Russell Wilson today and whether or not, he could come back. I think Melvin Gordon had some sort of comment about you're going to see an MVP caliber season for Russell Wilson now that you got Sean Payton and Joe Lombardi there. So yeah, that show is fun. It's a little brutal for me on the wee early hours, but thankfully I get my trusty sponsored by the biggest can of Red Bull I could find. Maybe a 5-hour energy or two, a couple of shots in the morning right beforehand. So I gotta stay feisty with Corey Parson on that. So
yeah,
make sure.
Yeah, you got to be awake and ready to go on that show. And you guys have been disagreeing. I've tuned in a couple times, and you guys have disagreed on different stuff. So it's like, you guys aren't just playing the role of a team player. You guys are fighting. You guys are fighting a little bit.
He's jealous of my success. They keep being introduced as the award-winning Howard Bender, and of course, I'm like grabbing like the rings and the trophies from over there, and I'm like holding them, and I'm like loving on them and stuff, just to piss him off a little bit, just to piss him off. Like you're gonna do the DFS show next with Adam Ronas, and you're gonna start hitting him with Dan Vogelbach props, because that'll totally get under his skin. He will freak out. Like it could be a viral moment, like freak out, if you just keep hammering him with Vogelbach props over and over again.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, he's a Mets fan, and I'm a Phillies guy, so I will not be backing Kodai Senga tonight against the Phillies because he worries me a little bit tonight. So maybe I'll get under his skin about Senga. But yeah, if you haven't already checked out that Bettor Morning Show, it lives on the YouTube page, Bettor Sports Network YouTube page, and Fantasy Alarm YouTube. So definitely go subscribe to both our channels and like the video, and you get the notification just to get some more videos in your feed.
Dan Vogelbach batting 5th in the Mets order today.
What's his home run prop? I should have went with him.
You should totally go with him because that'll piss him off so much, Servo. Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna throw it in tonight, that's for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, so tune into that show coming up at 5 o'clock Eastern. We appreciate everyone watching and listening today, and definitely come back on Monday and every day next week and going forward. We got this Bettor Sports Betting Show giving you guys out picks for free here on YouTube, Twitter, the Bettor Sports Network app, and everything. Howard, appreciate you joining me today, and good luck everyone with your bets tonight.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.